As consumers, we are bombarded by it at every turn, like the Incredible Hulk being bombarded by gamma rays. But what makes some media endure, while others are banished to the forgotten black hole of obscurity, never to be heard from again? Who or what decides this? Hetero life mates Steve and Yahel want to know, and they want to know now. This is Obscurity Now. And what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Obscurity Now, the show that takes a look at weird and bizarre and almost forgotten pieces of media, and then we decide whether it should be tossed into the black hole of obscurity or remembered for all of time. My name is Steve, and with me is a merry old soul by the name of...
Yahel. And Steve, how strange that we both wore the same shirt 2 weeks in a row.
I know, what a
coincidence.
Yeah, maybe if someone in the live chat could... Oh, wait.
Oh, there's that person in the live chat.
Right.
They wrote that thing.
Oh, hilarious. Man. Well, we got to get that guy on the show.
Yeah.
But no, so it's December, the beginning of the end of the year. And the beginning of Christmas. What are your big Christmas plans this year?
Well, for December, I always watch the ECW December to Dismember pay-per-view, one of the worst pay-per-views of all time. No, I don't do that.
Oh, I was gonna say maybe we should have covered that then.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. But it's like boring kind of bad.
Okay.
But anyways, I don't really have big plans. I'm not a big holidays guy, and being single now, I obviously don't have a significant other to buy things for or receive gifts from.
So you'll just be buying presents for yourself.
Like go to my parents. Yep. Which, as a living the no kid lifestyle, that's pretty much what I do frequently. So,
but you did say you'll be going to your parents, so I mean that counts as something. Yeah, I'm not a big. I'm not a big Christmas guy. Not a big Christmas guy either. I mean, I'm all spending time with family is cool, but I just don't like holidays where they tell you have to buy something. Like that sounds like a scam to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I got you.
That's why I
kind of feel the...
What's that?
Kind of feel the same way. And the thing is, like, for me personally, I don't like getting gifts.
Right.
I don't know. Like, it's just weird, like... and I don't like buying gifts. It's not that I have a problem spending money on something for someone. Like, I never know what to get people.
Yeah, same here. It's hard. And then when people buy me stuff, it's usually just something that I don't even really want. Like... It's like, why didn't you, buy me Alf number 17 from 1991? That's what I really wanted. Instead, you got me this shirt or this razor. It's like, come on, man. Do you even know who I am? Like, but yeah, I mean, still it's good to, get time off of work. I like watching Christmas themed horror movies on Christmas and, various other sort of anti-Christmas kind of stuff. Like, Bad Santa is like one of my favorite. I watch that every year.
Yeah, it's a great movie, actually. I never saw the second one because I was like, this is not going to be good.
It's not terrible. Like, if I have time on my, like, Christmas Day lineup, like, we'll watch it. It's not bad. It's funny.
Let me ask you, Steve, how do you feel? Because I feel like most people's go-to Christmas movie is Home Alone. How do you feel about Home Alone?
I like it. It's fun. I mean, I don't... You don't like it?
I didn't even like it as a kid.
Really? Oh, I loved it. I mean, we wore that VHS out.
Well, you are a few years younger than me, so I'll just chalk it up to you being an idiot.
This young whippersnapper doesn't know nothing about film.
You weren't a smart 10-year-old like me.
I mean, it's weird because we
usually
hate the same things, but I don't know. It's fun. I just maybe if I was a little bit older, I wouldn't dig it. But I enjoy it.
No, I mean, I'm in the minority. Like I was just talking to Mike Laboska, Tanzillo, Randall. The other day we have a group chat. We were talking about this, and Home Alone came up, and like they all love it. And I don't think it's funny. I think it's stupid. I think the suspension of disbelief required
Sure,
for this film
sure.
is too high. It's too high. Anyways.
All right. Well, speaking of transgressive holiday media, I think we've got some right here. I
would say so.
This is a Chainsaw Reindeer, a comic, which I feel is kind of in the same vein as our last episode of Thanksgiving. Would you say that? Would you be so bold as to say that?
I mean, there is an animal that's murdering people,
and there's rape in it as well, male rape.
Yeah, but please don't sound so excited about it.
I mean, I'm just saying there's parallels between the two pieces of media.
No, I know. It's
That's
just funny.
all.
Yeah, there's reindeers getting raped. Real weird.
Reindeer's getting raped. 5 golden rings. Like.
Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, let's go to the theater so we can show everybody the cover of Chainsaw Reindeer #1.
Welcome to your feature presentation.
So here we are. The beautiful, pristine digital copy of Chainsaw Reindeer #1. Yahel, had you ever heard of this comic before in your entire life?
No, I had never heard of it before in my life. I know, shocking. Obviously, you're the one that turned me on to this. Maybe I shouldn't use the phrase "turned me on." You can hear the regret in my mouth as like the words were leaving.
Oh, I think you couldn't have said it any better. But
I think I could.
But yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is a Chainsaw Reindeer from, I believe, 2019. Let me get my notes up here. And it's just a random comic. I don't even think a actual physical copy exists, as far as I know. And yeah, I don't know. I remember I read this when it came out in 2019, and I thought it was pretty hilarious. But well, I'll ask you that question when we're done. Yeah, all right, here we are. So Chainsaw Reindeer #1, here's the synopsis. Chainsaw Reindeer is the story of one of Santa's reindeer who snaps. Sick of Santa's abuse, the reindeer grabs a chainsaw and the slaughter begins. Unsatisfied with simply laying waste to the North Pole, the reindeer brings his unmeticulous massacring to the 4 corners of the earth, killing every human and animal in his path. Can anyone stop the Chainsaw Reindeer? No. That's it. I just like how it answers its own question. Now,
Right.
All right, let's propose this scenario. You walked into a comic store. It's December, and if it exists, you saw this sitting on the shelf. Would you be tempted to buy it, or at least look through it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it sounds fun, right? Chainsaw Reindeer. The cover art's pretty cool. The art in the book is really good.
Yes,
Actually,
I agree.
In general, I thought. So yeah, it would definitely pique my interest based on the cover and stuff. Yeah.
And that artist who rendered such a beautiful Chainsaw Reindeer is known as Carlos Trigo, who he did another book with the writer here, whose name is Brandon Reines, called A Ghoul Squad. And then he also worked on Mixed Dancer and something called Underground. And then the writer here, he actually has more film credits than he does writing credits. Did you check out his IMDb by any chance?
So wait, that's very Garth Marenghi-ish. I'm one of the few writers with more acting credits than writing credits.
Yeah, I did that on purpose for sure. But yeah, he is Brandon Reines is a writer-director who's got quite a few, like, I don't know, they're all sort of low-budget horror films to his credit. He is as I said, he's the writer of Ghoul Squad, and then his IMDb says that he did a show called Paranormal Phenomena Podcast, which is actually a show and not a podcast. and then a feature called Grotesque and Hotbox, and a couple of them are on Amazon Prime. And looking at it, a few of them might be worthy of us doing shows on. This guy seems like he's definitely Obscurity Now material, whatever that means. And actually what that is that no matter what you make, there's got to be like male rape in it. That's what Obscurity Now material means.
I just want everyone to know Steve did not clear this with me ahead of time, and I don't condone rape of any kind.
Nor do I. It's just a joke, people. Come on, lighten up. It's Christmas, almost. But anyway, so
I'm very concerned. I'm glad Lainey was here when you came to visit me, and I wasn't alone with you. Because, these new urges of yours.
Well, I hear you're all alone now, so be prepared.
Oh, God.
Ask Ash or wait, what's the Ask Gas or Cash? I'm gonna
ask gas or grass.
Yeah, that's what it is. Okay, so
that's a reference to our previous episode.
Yeah, please check it out. Thanks Killing. It's already a classic. Anyway, so the colors here, and this name is pretty bizarre. Prism Slaw Daedalus. I forgot to put when I sent you the initial format, I forgot to put the color and letterer in, and yeah, this guy's name, let me spell it for you. PRZEMYSLAW. Prism Slaw Daedalus. Okay, there. It's got to be a real name. And then the letterer, check out this wacky name. Chris Johnson. Whoa. And the publisher is this indie creator or publisher called Action Lab Comics, who looks like, I went to their site, it appears they're defunct, or at least they say like stay tuned. There's going to be stuff coming up. Did you look into Action Labs at all by any chance?
I did not, because your email made it seem like I shouldn't. You were like, yeah, if you want, you can look into Action Labs. Doesn't seem like it'd be worth it.
Okay, well, yeah.
I'm like, hey, well, I guess I
mean, they were active around 2010, and then I guess there was some controversy. People weren't getting paid, and that usually means that a publisher is going out of business when you can't pay your people. I mean, hopefully they'll spring back. Who knows? And if you want to read any Action Lab comics, including this one, it is on the Comixology app, which I don't even know if that exists anymore. I think Amazon bought it up and put it in.
Amazon bought it, but I thought they kept the name.
They did, but then I recently heard that they were just going to go ahead and weave it into Amazon Prime.
Like the Kindle?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
I would love if it just came included with Prime.
Yeah, that would be cool. That'd be really cool. So, I mean, I wrote down like the series of events, but we're just gonna breeze through the comic here because there's really not a lot of story here. It's just full on. How would you describe this comic? Like, just sort of, yeah.
I would. By the way, Comixology is still a thing called Comixology Unlimited, but their website will redirect you to an Amazon site, which a Kindle in the URL. However, everything on this page is branded as Comixology.
Okay.
So I don't know what the fuck that is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
How would I describe this? This is a good comic book if you don't want to like read a lot, because there's not a ton of story.
Nope.
There's some good art. I can't imagine how long it took this guy to write it. But Steve, you're a comic book auteur now. How long would you estimate?
Oh, to write this?
As a peer of this man's.
Well, like, I mean, it depends on if he... Because, I mean, I map out the whole story before I start sitting down and, like, scripting.
Right, but this doesn't have much of a story, so...
I'm going to imagine he, like, maybe knocked it out in a few nights. Maybe 2 nights, 1.5 nights, tops.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. This feels like 2 days max, and the second day I feel was spent deleting dialogue.
Yeah. Did you read his like note in the back where he said like,
yeah, I sure did.
It was like the most fun he had, like writing something, and I can feel it. It was fun. So let's jump in here. As you can see, this is a one shot, and it's for mature readers. So let's dive on in. So immediately we're treated to I guess it looks like Santa's factory at the North Pole, and it comes a very drunken and belligerent Santa Claus. Like, he makes bad Santa look like a good guy.
Right.
And he's going in, he's like swearing at the elves here. Like, I don't want to read everything word for words in case someone actually wants to buy this and check it out. So he kicks past the elves, like they're complaining about not. Oh wait, that happens later actually. So he goes into the pen where all the reindeer are, and he looks around and he goes, "So, which one of you is it gonna be this time?" And he just picks out a random deer. And now, if you're listening to this, these deer aren't just like the regular walking around on four legs deer. They're like anthropomorphic deer, kind of like a bull.
Yeah, they're like humanoid.
Yeah, bullwinkle or
deers.
something like that. And so Santa points at this one.
They're wearing clothes and everything.
Yeah,
like
and
overalls.
another odd thing that I don't know why this choice was made or wasn't made, but it's like none of the reindeer, they never name the deer. It's not like Rudolph or Prancer or anybody like that.
Right.
It's just deer. So he points at this guy and he's like, "You get in the shed." And then we're just treated to a couple panels of a door and the deer yelling, "Please don't hit me." Shut up. Just horrible. Yeah. So yeah, Santa's beating this deer. And then we're inside and the deer says, "Please stop." And then Santa goes, "Oh, the beating's done, but the fun's just begun." And he's unbuckling his belt. And then we see the words "no." And then Santa crawls back into bed with Mrs. Claus. She says, "Made it back, did ya?" And he's, "Shut up," while drinking. What do you think of everything thus far?
I don't know, man. I gotta be honest with you. I was just like, I surprisingly wasn't that into it. I just first of all, there's a lot of things that just off, and I know this is like super over the top, but there's just so many things that don't make sense.
Right.
Like there's like a bunch of reindeer, and they're all huge. They're all jacked.
Yeah.
Like
why couldn't he fight back? Yeah.
Right, like one of them could rip Santa Claus apart, let alone 20. And they're not tied up. Like I don't know. I feel like they should have been in chains or something.
Right.
You know, because like, and you know, Santa Claus, you know, typical fat, out of shape, you know, whatever. He's bald in this, which is interesting.
Yeah, this is the creepiest looking Santa that I think I've ever seen rendered in comic book form.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, it.
And like I thought it was weird that he was like raping reindeer. I thought like
that was so. It's weird. It's awful.
But like, you know, it is awful. But I was just like, I feel like the beating would have been like
enough,
sufficient.
Yeah.
Or like.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know. It just, to me, it came across like weird for this. I mean, I guess you know, this whole. I like things that are weird for the sake of being weird, but
too much.
I was just kind of like, yeah, it was kind of like, weird choice.
Sure. Yeah. Well, this guy's Canadian, so, you know, you gotta.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, all right, so the beaten deer is lying down in the shack, and he looks above him, and there's a shotgun hanging on the wall. So he walks into Santa's room. Of course, there's no security or anything. He just walks right in. And we get a great sort of Thanksgiving style one-liner from the deer where he says, "Merry Christmas, motherfucker," and blows a hole in Santa's merry old belly, and then proceeds to shoot Mrs. Claus in the head, like causing her curlers to explode everywhere. So yeah, this deer is definitely not very likable. He's like running into like Punisher territory here, but not even Punisher. I mean, because Mrs. Claus didn't do anything. It was all.
It seems like it almost seems like Mrs. Claus maybe doesn't even know what's going on.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, if you're gonna try to pick this apart or apply logic to it, I mean, she really didn't deserve to die. But yeah. So he doesn't stop there. He goes to the elf place, and the elves are. This is kind of. I like the fact that they're arguing about, you know, fair pay from Santa and talking about, I guess, like striking or something. And then along comes the deer, and he just unloads on him. And then the final panel on the page is him just standing above a pile of like dead elves. And he's going, "Not such a cheerful bunch now, are ya?" And I mean, again, like, why do the elves deserve to die? Because they let it happen?
Right.
Like, I mean...
Like, they have no... Yeah, like, I mean, if anything, like, you know, they're little tiny elves.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, they should...
Why didn't these fucking huge reindeer do something?
Right, they should all be on the same page, I would think. But moving on, the reindeer, the hero deer, has now tied up his brothers to the sled so they can fly away from the North Pole. And then we're shown inside the Canadian Air Force Base. They see Santa on the radar, and they're like, "What? Is that Claus? It's not Christmas." And the other guy's like, "He didn't report any activity in the skies from any of his people." And then the other guy goes, "It could be an imposter. Better shoot it down." So they shoot down the sled full of reindeer, and all of them are...
That makes no sense.
No,
like,
it doesn't. All of them are dead except for our hero deer in his overalls. And then along come some hunters. One of them is carrying a shotgun, and the other has a chainsaw. And then we get the old, well, what do we have here? And it's like, "Oh, that's a strange-looking buck. Think we can shoot him and sell his hide?" And then, of course, the other guy goes, "Nah, man. I got other plans for him." And he starts unbuckling his belt. And the deer gets raped again. Oh, my God.
For an hour, apparently, because the next panel says an hour later.
I know. Oh, my gosh. That's like...
See, at this point, I was, like, wondering, like, is the writer a furry?
Oh.
Like, does he have, like, a... No, maybe he has, like, a sexual attraction. Like, I'm serious. I was like, this is so... Like... Because, okay, Santa does it, and you can be like, okay, and like, even though I thought it was over the top, I'm like, okay, I get it. They're trying to establish that Santa's like awful person or whatever. I think the beating was enough to do it, because I think the raping thing just made it seem like it distracted from the story to me, actually.
The story that's barely there.
Well, I assumed that there was going to be, you know, because that was only a couple pages. That was literally like page 2.
Right.
So I assumed there was going to be more of a story, and I was like, it seems like, I don't know, just odd writing choices that weren't conducive, I felt, to like a story. But, you know, like you said, it's not really about the story. There's not much of a story.
Right. Yeah. I mean, a double, okay, I guess the question is having 2 rapes like funny because it's over the top and ridiculous, or is it just like sort of a little uncreative because like they could have done something else?
Man, I didn't think they were funny at all.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I can see how like you might think like, oh, Santa raping a reindeer, that you can like put that into like a funny kind of thing.
Right.
It seems to me like it'd be funnier the other way around. But
right.
Yeah, and then like, well, what the fuck is going on? Does everybody like in Canada like want to like fuck reindeer?
Well,
like what is going on?
I think he's just, and again, we're like nitpicking this probably hastily written story, but he just really wants to show that humanity is terrible in order to justify the Chainsaw Reindeer's massacre that he's about to go on. And this is when we first see the reindeer he grabs one of the hunters' chainsaw. Like, is one of them a logger and one of them a hunter? I don't know. But
that's a good point.
So yeah, he grabs it and then he proceeds to dice up the guys. Which those are pretty fun panels there, like art wise. Like it's like a good mix of just cartoon and comic book style, I guess. I'd like to see more from this guy. That doesn't include a reindeer getting raped. Yeah, so he dices them up.
By the way, I don't know if your light went out, but got really dark.
Getting dark here. So then the caption boxes read, the Chainsaw Reindeer stands victorious, and the caption boxes read, "From that moment forth, Chainsaw Reindeer had only one purpose in his life: to kill mankind with a chainsaw." And so basically the rest of the book is just him All right, I don't know if we're there yet. First, he is that a hockey rink? He shows up. I'm confused.
No, because no one's wearing skates.
Right, I guess he. All right, so he just chases some random civilians. Some cops show up, and he dices them up as well. And
like they have sorry to cut you off. Like, so these cops have guns, and they already have them out pointing at him. Yet somehow he gets to them and like slices them before they like. And again, I know it's like a silly over the top book, but like, I and I don't know if this was a decision by the artist, but from what I understand, usually like it's the writer that kind of says, "Hey, this is what I want in this panel." It just seems like they're not setting themselves up for like success, for lack of a better phrase, like with some of these decisions.
No, I mean, it depends on, I guess, what the purpose of success is.
Well, to me, they're leaving themselves open to like have what's going on be questioned. Like, okay, like when the Canadian people shot him down, they just shot him down. Like, oh, it might be an imposter. Shoot him down with a missile. Like, that's like ridiculous, and not like fun ridiculous. Just like that's stupid, and like it would have been better to me, in my opinion, for he could have still used the exact same panels just to say that, hey, he's not responding. They're not responding to our messages. They're flying over restricted space, restricted airspace.
Right.
And then you have a reason for them to be shot down with a missile. Like,
there's not a lot of reason or logic. It's all just pretty much pure chaos. And
this seems like an outline that wasn't like fleshed out.
Yeah, and I mean, and the chaos might not be to everyone's taste. So he dices up cops. It looks like he's cutting off truck driver's hands. Let's see, and then this starts
sawing through like cars.
Right.
There's a lot of cool stuff like in these panels.
Yeah, and then now basically starts his worldwide eradication, which this is pretty funny. I mean, he just basically shows up to every sort of popular tourist destination and desecrates like whatever you think about most when you go to one. Here's an example. First one, he goes to Paris, France. The Eiffel Tower's in the background, and he's dicing up mines, and then the Mona Lisa, and let's see,
King Tut's tomb.
Yeah, he goes to Egypt, dices up King Tut's tomb, and let's see, we'll just keep going. Camels for some reason. I guess that's another thing is like I would think that animals would be on his side. Like he dices up the camels, and then coming up, we're in Australia, which I think it would be better to do Florida for this gag that's coming up, but whatever.
Me too.
So he's dicing up some random Australian guys, and then there's an alligator around. He picks up the alligator and throws it at the guy, which I think is pretty funny. And the alligator bites the guy's head off. Chainsaw Reindeer gives him a thumbs up, and the alligator winks at him.
Winks.
Yeah. So
I thought, that was funny. Yeah, that was.
So
great.
That's an example of him working together with animals when just in the previous panel he was dicing up camels. Whatever.
Well, it's someone. It's I guess somebody who's like he's basically committing genocide, right? He's like,
well, yeah. Wiping out.
I guess they're not going to be the most logical person, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Or being.
And then not only does he like kill animals and humans, but also mythical creatures as well. He's in Ireland. First, he dices up an Irish pub, and then they show him dicing up a leprechaun in his pot of gold. Then he's dicing up a pregnant woman in Hollywood. At least I think that's what that's supposed to be.
Yeah, well, or California.
Yeah, and
yes, it's Los Angeles.
Yeah, he dices up a production. Then this is funny. He dices up a white rapper who's I guess supposed to be like a Vanilla Ice or Eminem type. Then he's in Las Vegas. He dices up gamblers, boxers, and you get the idea. Then he's in England. Dices up the Queen of England and some of those guards that she has. And you get the idea. I'll try to just do the highlights here. He dices up the Pope. And when he goes to
Who yells, "There is no God," as he's being sliced up?
now you got to be honest. That would make a fun T-shirt right there.
Yeah.
And when he goes to Japan, they run away and yell, "Worse than Gojira," which of course Gojira translates to Godzilla. In case you didn't know, he dices up the Loch Ness monster, a tourist in Greece, and then finally he stands above. I guess after dicing up armies everywhere, they were no match for him, is what the captions say. It says, "And the earth burns." He dices up astronauts on a space station. Then they show the World Leader Conference.
And by the way, he just like he's shown like flying in space.
Yeah.
So I guess. I mean, he's a reindeer, right? One of Sam's reindeer, so I guess he can fly. But I would assume I assumed he needed oxygen. But
right. And then there's a World Leader Conference, and he shows up and delivers another Thanksgiving style line in "Time to die, motherfuckers." And then the book just ends. It says probably not to be continued, which they were right. And it says if you want more Chainsaw Reindeer, write to the publisher, which makes me wonder if they didn't even know that Action Labs was going to be their publisher. Yeah, and then that is the comic, and then there's our boy there. What was his name again?
Brandon Rhines.
Yeah, Brandon. Yeah, Rhinus, and I mean, he looks like a guy who might enjoy.
He looks like a guy that's into
reindeer rape. Yeah, sure.
A little too much.
I mean, I was gonna tag him in this review on Twitter, but maybe now I won't. And then there's some clip. This is what the first.
I really want to Google Brandon Rhinus crimes.
Just go to the local sex offender database. I'm sure he's in there.
Yeah.
And then this is a sketch of the original, or the first time someone drew Chainsaw Reindeer. I guess Brandon Robinson, whoever that is. And this is the updated version. In case you wanted some BTS on Chainsaw Reindeer. So what are your final? I mean, don't render the verdict, but what do you think of all this now that it's over? Like when you read the last page, what were your thoughts?
I mean, I like the idea for sure. Like, it's a fun idea, right? This reindeer goes on this like worldwide killing spree.
Mm-hmm.
I think I mentioned before, the art's really fun.
Mm-hmm.
I really kind of dislike that it's very light on story,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no explanation for anything. Like, the armies he just took them all out. Like,
right.
Really? I mean, and in the last panels, if I remember correctly, they're resorting to launch all the world's nuclear weapons at him.
Right.
So that would imply that he's like, I don't know, like, because think about it. In the first thing we see, this reindeer guy, he gets beat up by Santa.
Wait, he's invincible for no reason. Yeah.
Drunk man, but he's not, because we see that he's a bloody mess from just Santa.
Right. I mean, later, like after, once he gets his chainsaw, somehow he's invincible.
Right. So that's what I mean. Like, this comic book doesn't. I don't mind absurd, over the top stuff.
Sure.
In fact, as you know, I'm a big fan of it.
That's why we're here.
I feel like when you write something, you as a writer create the rules of that universe and that world. And if they're absurd rules, great, but the story needs to follow the rules of the universe you create.
Right.
And this does not.
Right.
And that was like my big gripe with it, I guess.
Yeah, like I'm good with it for the most part. I had forgotten that it just sort of ended, which I found that highly disappointing. Like, if this was written to be a one shot, because I mean, as you said, there's no rules. Like, I mean, how could you even get more issues out of something like this in order to create a conflict to continue the story?
End.
Yeah,
right. And
yeah. If the ending would have been written, it would have stuck the landing. And then also, now that I mean, because it's been a long time since I've read this. I mean, and I did enjoy it the first time when I read it, just as something ridiculous and fun. But it really doesn't have anything to do with Christmas. Like, you could put anything any other animal in there. You know, it could have been Chainsaw the talking hedgehog or Chainsaw Turkey. You know, just
the sequel to Andy the Talking Hedgehog is him going on a chainsaw massacre.
Right, exactly. So yeah, I think, is there anything else left to say about Chainsaw Reindeer before we render our verdicts?
No, I'll add after we render the verdicts.
All right, here we go. Okay.
Next question.
So, Yahel, you merry old soul, do you think that Chainsaw Reindeer should be, I guess, thrown into the obscure back issue bin, never to be heard from again, or maybe more people need to read it and enjoy it for a little bit longer until humanity finally ends because of Chainsaw Reindeer?
It's a no for me, man.
Ooh,
it's
a no. Wow. Anything else?
Yeah, and I thought I was gonna like this, man. Like, I was really excited because I saw the cover.
It is a good cover.
I read the synopsis, and I was like, "This sounds dumb and over the top. This sounds cool," but yeah, I ended up really not liking it, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that. Reading it again, I didn't have as much fun of a time as I remember my my first read. And it almost sort of made me. I was like, this should have been like just a random comic book episode and not one for Christmas, because it really didn't have, like, if he was dismantling like the Christmas establishment, like, you know, cutting up like corporate executives,
like
and
bringing an actual war on Christmas.
now that would be something worth like talking about during Christmas. But at the same time, I did still enjoy it, and I think wacky comics like this need to exist because everybody, it's all superheroes all the time nowadays. So I'm going to say, I mean, I want a stalemate, so I don't want to, throw it into the dark pit of obscurity. I say,
I mean, it's like I love the premise, and I think this could be reworked into something like really good, but I just, there's no story.
Right.
Very, very little. It seems at first like you're going to get a story, but then you don't.
Right.
And then like there's no ending either.
That was a big,
but it's a one shot, and I'm like, it's a one shot without an ending.
Yeah, like, that's rough. It's like
and I just felt like the writing was just like lazy. Again, to me, that's why to me I said like this feels like an outline. Like, oh, okay, I'm gonna have the Canadian Army shoot him down.
Right.
I'll fill in like why they did that later. But then he like never really fills it in, and it's an imposter is not like a reason.
Sure. Well, I've got a Christmas present for you. I finally made a stalemate bumper, so let's check it out.
Oh, okay, great. So that's why.
Those pathetic podcasters known as Obscurity Now have once again rendered a verdict of no contest. That's right, a stalemate. They've wasted everyone's time. They are just as lazy as Congress and twice as corrupt. Boo, I say, tar and feather 'em. Get out the guillotine. Boo to stalemate, and boo to Obscurity Now.
Did you get to see it?
No, I'll have to tune in next week to see it.
Oh, well.
I mean, this is live, and yes, it was so stalemate.
No. This is actually pre-recorded because hopefully I'll be going to the LA Comic-Con to hand out small mini copies of Escape to Earth. But
that's awesome, man.
Yeah, if I can get them printed in time.
And not to like, and I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. I know I've mentioned like how much I really enjoyed your comic several times on the show, but like your comic like was like it still had a lot of action in it, a lot of fun stuff going on. It's short, right? And even though yours is to be continued, I felt like it had a more definitive end than this because it was like the wrapping up like a really big act one.
Right. Well,
of like a larger story.
I appreciate that.
As a reader, I felt, even though like I know the majority of the story is going to come, in the future, I felt satisfied and like my time wasn't wasted reading your comic.
Sure.
It had a definitive beginning, middle, and end of that act, and this just, I don't know, man. And I hate to be so negative, and maybe Steve, it's these Bud Light Platinum seltzers They are 8% alcohol.
No, I think you gave it an honest review. I mean, it is what it is. A comic like this is not for everyone. That's for sure.
It's got some fun stuff. It's a fun idea.
Yeah.
I think with a few tweaks, it could have been better.
Well, cool. I think that's all that needs to be said about Chainsaw Reindeer. Make sure you join us all throughout the month of December for slightly less offensive holiday media. For next week, we'll be watching Will Ventoon's Claymation Christmas special. Have you ever seen or heard of that one before?
No, so I'm actually excited about it. I think is there like a Gumby Christmas special? I feel like that's the only thing I've seen.
I'm not sure about that. This one has like the California raisins in it, and they sing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
I've definitely never seen this, yeah.
Well, yeah, we'll be doing that, and then the following week we'll have Santa with Muscles, starring Terry Hulk Hogan Bollea. That'll be...
And Steve, have you ever seen Santa with Muscles?
No, I have not.
Okay.
All right. Well,
I'm excited. I watch Santa with Muscles every year.
All right. Well, that maniacal laugh says it all, ladies and gentlemen. And the very last episode of 2021 will be a New Year's or 2021 wrap up where we'll just talk about whatever. So hopefully you'll join us for all of those episodes. Please make sure you like and subscribe. And we will see you next week on Obscurity Now.
You've been enjoying Obscurity Now, a podcast that's recorded live to tape and streamed to Twitch and YouTube. Subscribe so you never miss an episode or hilarious quip. Take us with you by following the download links provided in the show notes to wherever you get podcasts. And take notice of our various social media links if that's what you're into. I'm not here to judge. And make sure you join us live next week at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific as we continue to discuss more obscure media only on Obscurity Now.